అవతరించుటయనుటలో అర్థమేమి? అవతరించుటయనుటలో అర్థమేమి? నరులపై ప్రీతి వాత్సల్య పరతతోడా వారి స్థాయికి దైవంబు వచ్చు భువికి. జీవ ప్రజ్ఞతో బాటుగా దైవ ప్రజ్ఞ.
I get reminded of one of those beautiful interactions we had with Bhagwan in Kodaikanal few years back. We were all with Swami and we were praying to Swami. You have given us so many chances. We don't know. We have no words to express. And Swami immediately said, always keep these moments with you in your heart. Ikkada bhadraparchukondi. Always keep it inside. Whenever you're feeling low, whenever you're feeling depressed, we need to relive all these moments. And this is the time. Sri Sathya Sai Aradhana Mahotsavam is a solemn occasion when we need to relive all those wonderful moments with Bhagwan.
We are indeed very lucky because we are chosen. We are chosen by Baba himself. Let us not think that we have come all by ourselves. No. And on this Aradhana day, let me also tell you that Swami prepared our minds long back to some people, if not all. One day I very well remember, Swami called me to the dais here, where you find in Sai Connect Hall, the dais where you find Swami's chair being kept. Swami came out of the interview room and called me. Anil Kumar, this is the place where my body will be laid to rest. This is the place where my body will be laid to rest, that Swami said. I swear on his name and the witness. Immediately I said, Swami, I'm a coward. I'm a very timid man. Why do you speak like that, Swami? He said, you are not supposed to like that. Say like that. Don't you know that yatasya dhruva mrityu? All that is born is bound to vanish. Why do you say like that? So he made his plan known to some of the people.
My mind goes back to the year 1999, the month of May, when Swami came from Vrindavan to Puttaparthi for a day. As is with Swami, every time the first priority is the devotees. Same was this activity that Swami took up of providing the gold foils to the ceiling designs of the Sai Connect Hall. Swami had directed that the gold foils be first fixed on the ceiling area of where the devotees sit, and then only the mandir should be taken up. To see this work, Swami came for a day from Vrindavan. That day, when Swami reached sometime around 10:30-11, he went round the Kulwant Hall, seeing the people at work, and directed them, guided them to do it appropriately. As he was walking back from the rear of the Kulwant Hall to the front, he pointed the place where we had the Vinayaka statue, or presently where we have the Sannidhi. Swami pointed like this and mentioned to few of us who were around him, saying, Nenu ikkade untanu, meaning I will reside there. It came like a surprise statement to all of us, but it took a few seconds for us to realize that Swami had decided the place where he would reside for the times to come. Today, Swami is keeping his promise that he had given to his mother, that I would never leave Puttaparthi. Swami is present at the Sannidhi, waiting for each and every one of us. Earlier, he used to come for darshan, then devotees would be waiting. Today the situation is just the opposite. He is waiting and we come to see him. He is much more available. He is much more for all of us. He just eagerly waits for us to connect to Him, for us to seek His grace, for us to seek His guidance. His love is unending.
ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా,
embodiments of love.
ఈ వెంకమ్మను ఈశ్వరమ్మ వచ్చి, స్వామి మీరు ఏమైనా జరగండి, ఎటువంటి పద్ధతులైనా జరగండి, కానీ పుట్టపర్తి మాత్రం వదలకూడదు అన్నారు.
And Venkama and Ishwarama said, Swami, you may do anything, you may go anywhere, but never leave this Puttaparthi.
అప్పుడు నేను ఆమెకు మాట ఇచ్చాను.
Then Bhagavan promised her,
నేను పుట్టపర్తిని వదలను,
I will never leave Puttaparthi.
నేను ఇక్కడే ఉంటాను,
I will stay here permanently.
ఈ విధమైన ప్రమాణం చేయటం చేతనే నేను ఈనాటి వరకు పుట్టపర్తి వదలలేదు.
Because of the promise given to the mother by Bhagavan, till this day he did not leave Puttaparthi.
ఎవరైనా సరే ఇక్కడికి రావాల్సిందే, కానీ నేను ఎక్కడికి పోయి స్థిరంగా నివాసం చేసేది.
Anyone for that matter will have to come to this place. Bhagavan will never go anywhere.
కనుకనే ప్రతి దానికి కూడా అవతారతత్వం అంటే పుట్టిన స్థానాన్ని వదలకూడదు.
Avatar, the nature of avatar is to stay there where the birth has taken place.
ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి చెట్టుని తీసి ఇంకో దగ్గర నాటితే అక్కడ కొంతకాలం చావచ్చును, బ్రతకవచ్చును.
If you remove the growing plant here, transplant it somewhere
అదే
else,
విధంగానే
it may grow up.
సాయి బాబాదని అక్కడ ఇక్కడ పెట్టి ఉంటే ఇది బ్రతికేటువంటిది కాదు.
So the Satya Sai Baba is not willing to be shifted.
ఎక్కడ పుట్టిందో అక్కడనే పెరగాలి ఇది.
This incarnation grows where it is born.
కనుక దీన్ని వదలకోకుండా ఈనాటి వరకు కూడాను ఈ పుట్టపర్తిని పెద్ద క్షేత్రంగా సాగుతూ వచ్చింది.
This Puttaparthi has become a pilgrim center because Bhagavan continued to stay here.
It was the Ugadi day of 2012. I've always been at Prasanthi Nilayam for every festival. But this was going to be the first Ugadi without Bhagwan around. And for some reason, I thought in my mind that I wouldn't travel from Anandpur to Puttaparthi that day, since I anyway had to come within 2 or 3 days to Prasanthi Nilayam. I went to bed. Almost all teachers had already left to Prasanthi Nilayam the previous evening. Morning around 4:30, and I'm still quite in deep sleep. I hear exactly Bhagwan's voice, and I had no inkling of doubt about the voice that I heard. And he says, and I hear it in my ears, and I wake up with this. Swami says, you have to be as close to my samadhi as you have been to me. He repeats it 3 times, and with that I wake up. I take a breath, sit down to recall what I heard, and then of course the next first thing I do is to get ready and drive away to Prasanthi Nilayam. But on this day, I think this message is of so much importance to all of us. Despite Bhagwan being invisible to our human eyes, it is important for us to come to that Sannidhi, to visit Prasanthi Nilayam, to be at Sai Kulwant Hall as many times as possible, because that is our recharging point.
Baba is everywhere, and divine Sannidhi, Samadhi is the charger. You are the cell phone. When single cell phone needs to be charged, our body is full of thousands of cells. They need to be charged. So you come here, get your body, the soul and the spirit charged here. Why? Lord Venkateswara is present all over the world. Then why do you go to Tirupati? Where is the need? Why people go to Buddha Gaya? Why do you go to Mecca? Why do you go to Bethlehem? Why? They are the birthplaces of avatars, incarnations. They charge us with devotion and determination. Many people come and tell me, when once we touch that Samadhi, we feel vibrations. Many people told me that they get answers to their questions. They get their problems solved.
When I had my son, I used to ask myself, why me? I have a very special gift which Swami had given me in the form of my son, who is a special child. It is very difficult to bring up a child who has autism. It is very difficult to understand what emotions he is going through. He is unable to express them. For many who say that having a special child is like a curse, but it has proven to be a blessing for us. Having such a child requires not only physical strength but also mental and spiritual strength. Sai Karthik, my son, was 2 years, 10 months when we had gone to Whitefield Ashram, and Swami came right towards our side. We were so happy. My little son just ran towards him. Today he is 24 and he now sits in the Kulwant hall and tells Rudram all by himself. It was only through Swami's grace and his inspiration that we have been able to take this child, who is a special child, and make him into a very special child. And more than me, it is my son who has inspired me, because he gives us the joy of speaking about Swami, singing Swami's bhajans. So even when we feel low, he just sings a bhajan and then we are pulled into that flow and we forget that we have a problem, we have an issue at hand. So much so that even if there is any argument or any altercation, he sings a bhajan and gets us back to being where we are supposed to be, in what thoughts we are supposed to be. We were always attached to Swami's physical form. Whenever we used to come to Parthi, though we were sitting quite far off, but always Swami used to bless. That we used to feel in our hearts. And now when his physical form is not with us, we are seeing Swami everywhere. We are seeing Swami in Karthik. Like how a rocket which goes up, we focus on the rocket, but when the rocket bursts and there are sparkles everywhere, you find Swami everywhere. The sparkles of his presence everywhere. That has inspired us to keep coming and recharging ourselves. The vibrations in Sannidhi keeps pulling us every weekend to come here and experience the bliss. The same bliss which we experienced when Swami's physical form was there. The same bliss we experience today.
I recollect a lovely experience of one of the very old devotees of Bhagwan. And the two sons of this lady studied in Bhagwan's college. And they were so close to Bhagwan that when Bhagwan used to stay in Vrindavan during the summer vacations, he used to give a room in his own bungalow to stay with him. After Bhagwan left his physical form, she was distraught. She was very upset, like all of us. And her sons decided to take her away for some time so that she can, get out of it. She also decided to make a trip for some time to be with her sons and then come back to Prasanthi Nilayam. But the day when she decided to leave, Swami again came to her dream and told her in Hindi, "I am here. Where are you going to leave me and go? I will take care of you. Have no fears." And that was the turning point. She decided not to leave him. So she still continued to stay in the ashram. Once again, she was slightly unwell. And nobody was with her in the nights. And so somewhere a fear gripped her. So just to come out of that fear in the night, she came close to the chair that she used to always keep for Bhagwan. And she also had another chair near Bhagwan's chair on which she sat down. And she started praying to Bhagwan, "Swami, take care of me as you promised. I am not feeling very well today. Her mobile was kept near her, and suddenly the light of the mobile came up, and she looked at the mobile. Beautifully in capital letters, it said, "Why fear when I am here?" She was shocked, and what an assurance! Her fear immediately disappeared. She tried to look for the sender's name, but there was no sender's name. It was totally unrecorded once the lights went off from the mobile. That is how Bhagwan takes care, is around, and will never ever leave us.
One of the visits when Bhagwan had come from Prasanthi Nilayam to Vrindavan, I remember on the first day of his arrival to Vrindavan after Bhajans, we were expecting that we'll be called into Trey Vrindavan, but Bhagwan did not do so. But we got a bit concerned when on the second day and on the third day, Bhagwan did not call us inside Trey Vrindavan. Bhagwan said, I have a cold, so I can't call you. So there were many reasons, but there was something which told us that it is not what Bhagwan is saying. There must be a larger reason why we are not being called. There were desperate prayers which all the students engaged in, and the Lord relented. The Lord answered the prayers. After a few days of wait, when we are really craving for the 3 sessions, Bhagwan called us in. What I cannot forget is a profound moment that occurred in the first 3 session that we had after the break. There was a silence that was very eloquent. Bhagwan came in, sat on the jula. For a few minutes he said nothing. He was just looking at all of us. And then Bhagwan whispered a few words, and I distinctly remember Bhagwan spoke in English. He asked a question. He said, "Swami came a few days ago, but Swami never called you into Trey Vrindavan. Do you know why?" And Bhagwan responded to that question himself. He said, "Slowly, Swami is teaching you to look for Swami within." I still remember going back to that moment, my heart froze for a moment because I felt what Bhagwan was actually saying is that a day will come when we will not have the unimaginable fortune of being in the physical presence of the Lord. But he was also saying something very important, something which he has taught us all throughout and continues to teach us to this day. He said that the real place to look for the Lord is within. He said, slowly, Swami is teaching you to look for Swami within. This was 94, 95. It was long, long before even we had thought of that day when we would have Bhagwan's Aradhana.
దైవాన్ని ఎక్కడైనా సరే మీరు ఆత్మస్వరూపునిగా నిర్మించుకోండి కానీ ఆకార స్వరూపునిగా మీరు తలంచకండి.
Worship God in spirit, not in physical frame.
ఈ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క ఫిజికల్ ఫ్రేమ్ను పక్కన పెట్టండి.
Just keep aside this physical formful aspect.
ఆత్మస్థాయిగా మీరు నిశ్చయించండి.
Worship God at the level of the spirit in a spiritual way.
కనుక స్పిరిచువల్గా ఉంటున్నప్పుడే మీకు ఆత్మస్వరూపం అర్థమవుతుంది.
When you worship and live in spirit, then you can understand.
ఆకారాన్ని తలంచకుండా కేవలం ఆత్మస్వరూపాన్ని మీరు విశ్వసించండి. తప్పక ఎప్పుడు కూడా చక్కగా ఆరోగ్యంగానే ఉంటుంటుంది.
You grow beyond the physical form. Think of the spirit behind it. Atma, you can achieve anything.
It was in the year 1981 that our family went through a deep personal tragedy in the form of loss of my younger brother. My brother fell down in the school and had an accidental death. And at that time, Swami was in Vrindavan. He was not in Prasanthi Nilayam. So there was total chaos and a lack of understanding on how to go about. And my father was also equally devastated. And at that time, Swami had written a letter from Vrindavan to my father. And in that letter, Swami beautifully explained everything in detail about what exactly happened. And he stated that everyone who is born has to die one day. Puttina pratikayamu gittaka tappadu, he said. as long as he lived, he earned a good name, and that is what is important in life. And I can understand the mother's grief and anguish, but be assured that I will be coming to Puttaparthi and explaining to her personally. Then he called my parents for a few interviews. And in the course of those interviews, Swami was trying to explain to my mother not to feel so sad always, because he was assuring her that he had merged in his lotus feet. Why do you have to cry for that? Because he is with me happy. But mother being mother, she was unable to reconcile. And she said, Swami, it is an untimely death. Then he said, no, you are thinking it is an untimely death. It is not an Akala Maranam, it is a Sunayasa Maranam. Whenever the Kala Karma Karana Kartavyam is over, each one goes his way. And then my mother said, maybe we could have averted this by timely medication or medical attention. And to that also Swami said, what medicine you are talking about? It is the doctors who themselves die. Do they lack any medicines? Or even the wealthy and the rich who have everything at their command and they can get themselves treated in the best of the hospitals, do they not die? I am telling you in so many ways that he is with me, but still you are crying like this. That means you don't have faith in my words, he said. And with these words, my mother was slightly taken back. But even then, she used to carry his photograph with her in a book, and Swami took that photograph of his and signed on that with love Baba, saying that he is with me, don't cry. Finally, Swami just picked his robe like this, pointing to himself. He said, there will come a time when I will also have to leave this body. Oka samayam vastundi chudu, nenu kuda ee dehanni chalinchavalsi vastundi. These are the exact words of Swami. So with that, my mother's eyes opened, and then those tears dried up really. He was the formless living in the form, and he was the infinite living in this finite body. From the form, he has taken us to the formless aspect.
Kanuka Paramatma, neevu rasaswarupude kaani akara swarupudu kaadu.
God, you are Rasaswarupa, essence, but not Akara, the form.
ఆకారంతో కూడినటువంటి రసమును స్మరిస్తే నీకు భగవంతుడు చిక్కడు.
If you worship the formful aspect of God, you cannot experience.
రసస్వరూపుడైనటువంటి యొక్క నిరాకార స్వరూపాన్ని ధరించాలి.
God is attributeless, formless, the very essence of life.
కనుక ఫామ్ అనేటువంటిది మార్పు చెందేటువంటిది.
Form changes.
కనుక మీరు నన్ను దేహస్వరూపుడుగా మీరు భావించకండి.
Do not consider Bhagavan as a mere body.
దేహిని నేను.
Bhagavan is our indweller.
నాకు నీకు భేదం లేదు.
There is no difference between Bhagavan and you.
నాకు సర్వశక్తి ఉన్నది.
Bhagavan has got all the potential. Once in Kodaikanal, he revealed this. I can withdraw from this body right now if I want. Then boy started crying. Then I told Swami, we have come here to Kodaikanal to enjoy all the smiles, all the bliss in your company, but not to hear such words of Swami. Keep quiet. That's bound to happen. I can withdraw anytime I want. I can prolong my life anytime I want. It only means it is his will to withdraw anytime. His birth happened because of his will, so also his exit. So also his exit. Some people then may ask me, how is that he is in the hospital for such a long time? I can tell you, during his hospitalization, he went around the world, preparing the minds of the people, preparing for the day of withdrawal from the physical body. Had he withdrew all of a sudden, thousands would have died. Thousands. To avert that situation, he was there in the hospital. That's all. When he prepared everybody, then he chose to leave this body. Therefore, let us not think that Baba is no more in our midst. May be true physically, but he is spiritually with us. Spiritually with us.
After the performance, after the program, we went to Swami and we were praying to Swami. In Telugu, we told Swami, Swami, mem eppudu meetone untamu, which means, Swami, we always want to be with you. Then Swami so lovingly replied, Meeru nato undadam chala kashtamu. కాబట్టి నేనే మీతో ఉంటాను. విచ్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ డిఫికల్ట్ ఫర్ యూ టు బీ విత్ మీ, సో ఐ విల్ ఓన్లీ బీ విత్ యూ. స్వామి కాల్డ్ us and he was asking us, what do you want? ఏమి కావాలి మీకు? Then we were like, we had no words and we told Swami daya kavali, which means Swami's grace, Swami, we don't want anything. And immediately Swami, in his mischievous smile, Swami told, means you don't want Swami, you want Swami daya. Meeku Swami udda, meeku Swami daya kavala. Then we told, we again prayed to Swami, let Swami only. The message was very straight, that if we have Swami with us, we have everything in this world. మిన్న దైవమగు సాయి మనసే వెన్న పూసరన్నా, అన్ని ఎడల మన ఉన్నతి కోరెడి కన్న తండ్రిరన్నా. సాయి రామ హే ఘనశ్యామ, గుప్పెడు అటుకులు తిని శ్రీకృష్ణుడు సంపదలందించేరన్నా. ఏమాసింపకనే ఎందరెందరికో సకలము అందించెను మన సాయి కృష్ణుడన్నా. ఏ నామమైన ఏ రూపమైన సాయిమయమేరన్నా. మిన్న దైవమగు సాయి మనసే వెన్న పూసరన్నా. In this Burrakatha song, it describes the friendship between Lord Krishna and Kuchela. Kuchela hasn't asked anything. He only wanted Krishna in his life and he got everything. In a similar way, we only need to pray to Swami that Swami, we only need you and rest all will follow.
प्यार की नगरी में सदा.
And I still remember this student brother of mine making a very interesting statement. He said, brother, everybody is saying that we must go beyond Bhagwan's form and focus on the formless. And then the student brother smiled and said, I think what Bhagwan really wanted is for us to forget our form and not his form. Because his form is the very basis of our life. It is the very fulcrum of our life. It is the very foundation of our existence. And Bhagwan's important teaching, if you say every single discourse, he referred to us as Divyatma Swarupalara, Prema Swarupalara. The consistent teaching all throughout is that we are not just the body. So if we are not the body, then what are we? If the purpose of life is to go beyond our form and realize who we really are, what are we really?
The teachers were having an interview with Bhagwan, and one of us had a very serious and sincere doubt. Swami, is the name or the form? What is more important? And Bhagwan, in his most inimitable style, came up with an example to explain this to all of us. Swami said, imagine I drove to Anandpur and arrived at the college gates. I call the watchman and I say, I want to meet this lady who is 5 feet tall, wearing a green sari, having a long plait, etc., etc. Would he be able to identify the person that I want to meet easily? Or if I said, I want to meet Jayama, would he understand that better? Of course, all of us concurred that giving the name would make it easier. And that's when Swami said, the name is always more potent than the form. So again, at this stage, when the form is not visible to our human eyes, maybe one refuge that we must all take in is in chanting of the name of our Lord Sai.
I recall one more powerful incident with Bhagwan, which happened with one of my brothers here. We used to sing together. in Bhagwan's presence. He had a doctor appointment in Bangalore where he had to leave Parthi and miss those evening bhajan session. And he prayed to Swami that, Swami, I am not here on that particular evening and I'll be missing your bhajan, Swami. Swami replied, never think like that. Wherever you are, if you're in the train or in the bus, you just sing bhajans at that point of time and it'll reach me. This is the message Swami gave him, and it is so universal that today, wherever we are, our prayers are reaching Bhagwan.
I once remember Professor Kasturi giving an interesting twist to a popular nursery rhyme that's taught in schools in India. The original nursery rhyme goes like this: Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So there's a human being looking at the beautiful stars in the sky and wondering what the star is. Professor Kasturi writes a poem which sounds similar but gives a special twist to the second line. He says, twinkle, twinkle, little star, have you wondered what you are? On that day in Bhagwan's physical presence, he was looking at the few thousand twinkle, twinkle, little stars who were gathered in the audience, and he was asking the question, have you ever wondered what you are? And if that question was asked by Professor Kasturi, the answer was given by Bhagwan in a very beautiful experience. In fact, it's part of the book Loving God by Professor Kasturi. Professor Kasturi says Alf Johansen Tiedemann flew from abroad to Bangalore, drove from Bangalore to Prasanthi Nilayam and walked up the stairs to Swami's room, and he gently pushes the door, and inside what does he see? He sees Bhagwan seated on a chair and alongside is Professor Kasturi. Bhagwan surprises Alf Johansen Tiedemann by complimenting him. Bhagwan says, Alf, you look very fit and fresh. Now that's not something which you would expect Bhagwan to tell you. And before he could recover from that surprise, Swami asks him a question. How do I look? Pointing towards himself, Swami asks this question. Caught off guard, unable to think about adjectives, Alf Johansen Tiedemann repeats the same adjectives. He said, Swami, you look very fit and fresh. And then comes the next question. How does Kasturi look? And again, Alf Johansen Tiedemann has no time to think and says, Swami, Kasturi also looks very fit and fresh. And then the Lord shares a profound message. He says, Alf, Swami looks very fit and fresh. Alf looks very fit and fresh. Kasturi also looks very fit and fresh. Do you know why? Because you're all my reflections. Because Swami is very fit and fresh, you automatically, both of you look very fit and fresh. Can there be a simpler method to speak about, everything that is really spirituality?
Some misunderstanding arose between a senior teacher and me. And she was also not very keen to talk it out to me. I thought to myself and told myself that she was a senior teacher and she has every right to correct us if she finds me wrong. So I should not give in to this ego. So I approached her and wished her Sai Ram. But somehow she hadn't forgiven me, so she don't respond. Another time, gathering a lot of courage, I wished her again. I did not get a response. And after that I thought, no, let me not try. And after which, every time I would find her on the right side of our round building, I would immediately turn on the left side. And if I would find her on the left side, I would turn towards the right, trying to evade. When this was still going on, we came to Prasanthi Nilayam and Swami called us for an interview, and all of us were inside sitting at his lotus feet. He was talking to us. He, incidentally or wanting to clear my doubts, picked up the very same theme, like how small misunderstandings get carried for quite a few days and they start appearing very big. But we should not allow that to happen. And in my mind, I was sitting on the right side of Bhagwan's chair. I thought in my mind, Swami, but I wished her twice and she did not respond. And that is what this game is going on. When she is on the right side of the wing, I go to the right, left. And when I find her on the left, she's on the right. Swami immediately turned towards me, looked into my eyes and said, some game is being played. Of course, he was talking in Telugu. When you see somebody with whom you have a misunderstanding, you turn towards right. And you find that person on the right side, you immediately try to avoid and move to the left side. I was caught red-handed and I was feeling very miserable. So I said, Swami, I'm sorry, but what can be done? Swami gave a very simple response, and it relates so beautifully to the lesson that we are trying to learn now. He said, don't wish her Sai Ram, but wish me in her Sai Ram. I was quite elated. I said, what a beautiful and a simple way out of this confusion that I was facing. I just have to say Sai Ram to Swami. That's all. And the lesson, beautiful lesson that we need to take in today is that he actually is residing in the heart of each one of us. But we need to learn, raise to that level and be able to witness, to see, to behold him sitting inside each heart. That is what we need to do today.
I think the Aradhana Day is a great opportunity for us to reflect on how much we have progressed in the only journey that matters. The journey to discover who we really are. The journey to experience who we really are. And make that a daily living experience. Not just see ourselves as reflections of God, but see everything around us as reflections of God. My Swami the strong, my Swami the weak, my Swami the rich, my Swami the poor, my Swami the healthy, my Swami the suffering, my Swami the intelligent, my Swami the ignorant. All of us are his reflections. And may the Lord give us the wisdom to make this intellectual understanding a reality that propels our daily life.
It was the Guru Purnima of 2011. A very, very difficult time for most of us who have been so used to seeing Bhagwan's form day in and day out. The Mahasamadhi was being unveiled. And I was sitting in the Sai Kulwant hall inconsolably weeping because I had one question over many others that was nagging me. Now there will be generations of students who will come into the portals of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. And when they ask us, who is Swami? Swami, how would I describe you to them? Would I say the 5 feet 4 inches form in orange robe with a crown of hair that you see in the pictures, the videos, etc.? How would they experience that form? This was something that was nagging me from inside. And through my inconsolable weeping on that day in Kulwant Hall, Bhagwan's voice made it very clear in my ears. I found the answer loud and clear from him right there. Bhagwan says, Swami is no more a form. Swami is a phenomenon which helps you see yourself. Swami is equal to saw me. What a revelation it was. Swami, of course, is that divine power which has always allowed us to see ourselves as the Divine One. And as a phenomenon, I think Swami continues to do that for each one of us.
Today, 11 years back, we were wanting to have very, very close to us that form which we love to have darshans of. And yet, we were looking for it everywhere, not knowing, not realizing that he was sitting right inside us. We were unable to see. Sometimes we say, Swami, we miss you. But then, how can we miss him when he is enveloping us all the time, eternally? And sometimes we expressed ourselves saying, Swami, I offer my heart at your lotus feet. What can be offered to him when everything springs out of him? Then we also sometimes used to say, Swami, we belong to you. What can belong to him when everything is emerging out of him. We spoke, we sang, we talked so much about his omnipresence, and yet we were unable to get to understand what that omnipresence really meant.
When we board a flight, we may or may not come across the pilot. At best, we might hear his voice from the cockpit before the takeoff. Similarly, in this journey of life, many of us may have seen the pilot many times, or many of us may not have ever seen the pilot. All of us hear him from the cockpit, his lovely, divine, inspiring voice through his discourses, through his bhajans, are all available for us as we go through life's journey. But once the flight is taken off and we are heading towards our destination, we neither see the pilot nor hear him. But that should not be a reason for us to be despondent, because with faith, when we land and when we arrive at our destination, all of us, every one of us, will feel, will experience and see that beautiful divine phenomenon which safely took us to our destination, despite him being invisible all through the journey.
So in this flight of life, with so much of turbulence also, when we know that Swami is our pilot, we will have a safe and a happy landing.
ప్రేమతో ఒక్కతూరి బాబా అని పిలుచు చాలు.
Pray wholeheartedly once, Baba.
ఆ ప్రేమనే మీకు ప్రాణంగా మారిపోతుంది.
That very love will be your very life. Bhagavan always said, I'll protect you like the eyelid. Eyelid. But he said the eyelid may drop. But I want like that. I'll always take care of you. That's what Bhagavan has said.
కనుక ఇది ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ లవ్ కాదు.
Love should not be artificial.
హార్ట్ఫుల్ లవ్.
It should be heartful, never artificial.
కనుక ప్రేమ స్వరూపాన్ని పెంచుకోవాలి.
Develop the spirit of love.
ఎవరు చూసినా నవ్వుతూ వారిని ఫ్రెండ్షిప్ చేసుకోవాలి.
We develop friendship with everybody. Talk to people smiling. This is the day of Aradhana Day. This is the day to rededicate our lives to his divine mission. Anything comes next to Swami, that's all. Visit this place and then charge yourself and go back with double the vigor, with the double the activity, with the double the vitality and the dynamism. Participate in the Sai mission, Sai service activities. May Bhagavan be with you forever and evermore. Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Shanta Brahmamaya Divya Swarupa Yugavatara Paramadayagana Dina Janavana Karuna Sai Antaranga Sai Anathanatha Sai Dina Bandhu Sai Karuna Sindhu Sai Dina Bandhu Sai Karuna Sindhu Sai Rama Krishna Shiva Shakti Prema Rupa Sai Yugavatar Baba Shri Sathya Sai Yugavatar Baba Shri Sathya Sai Antaranga Sai Anathanatha Sai